Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today I am taking a look at a brand new product to me and, well, to everybody, and that is Kjaer Weis has come out with these very, very baby eyeshadows. There's two colors. I got the lighter one, and this is the size. It's small. It can travel very easily if you have the right brushes. These are very, very narrow, and I think a lot of people use big brushes and they might have a problem, or they would have to just be super, super careful. I also wanted to talk a little bit about these new brushes that I got instead of doing a video specifically on the brushes, although I'd be happy to do that too. But I bought new brushes largely from Beautylish, but some of them from Hakuhodo. The Hakuhodos, I got these three, and one of them doesn't have a name on it, and I threw away my receipt because usually you put the names, the numbers on them. But this is a very small pinched ferrule slant. This one is about the same size, but instead of a slant, it's rounded. And this one is also pinched and larger. And I think it's probably close to the 239 from MAC. And I got these because I watched Hindosh and Lisa Eldridge both do their favorite brush videos. And I just wrote down the things that they liked and considered what might be useful for me, because I'm hooded and I'm fairly deeply hooded. Some of the things both artists love to use might not work so well for me, but Hindosh was a huge fan of that MAC. And then Lisa and Hindosh recommended this Ray Morris brush. Now this is a synthetic, it's some kind of crystallized something or other. It is from Beautylish. The rest of the brushes are from Beautylish. It has a tip, which would make it ideal for getting into something like this, although you could lay down as well and use it for all over. But I find you could also apply and blend with this, because the shorter ends would blend when you're hooded. You just put here and go boop, 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 boop. But I like this tip for putting something in a very specific place. And then I got a couple of Chikuhodos. This one I feel would blend after I lay down with this one. I recently did a video where you pick my makeup, and I used the Natasha Denona Triochrome, and I use these brushes so you can see the application there as well as the application here. So this one is rounded, and it is squirrel, gray squirrel. For me, I feel like I need to step up my game because I'm not quite doing what I want to do. In order to step up your game, I think at a certain point you have to start getting serious about your brushes. And then I got these two brushes. This is just a lay down. They don't tell you what kind of hairs these are. It just says it's natural. I'm going to assume this is dyed goat. I could be wrong. And this doesn't feel natural. This feels like a synthetic to me. This one is great because it doesn't splay. There's a density to it. You could put your powder exactly where you want it to go and then do teeny little blending motions. And I think this is kind of genius. And these are from Mykitco. And the other Chikuhodo I got, I guess people would say it's a pencil brush. That's not what they're calling it. But I've seen Lisa use brushes like this for a long, long time. This is not stiff. I think she might have some of these from Suq, and I don't think they make them anymore. I think she has small and medium, and generally I see her use it right here, but not always. I think I've seen her use the large one right up here. And that's kind of how I decided what brushes I want to get to up my game a little bit. Let's get into the application. You can see them working with this. So I'm going to use this brush and just kind of do a little shaping on the eye. I might even actually put this all over. And with this brush, I am able to pick up quite a bit. And it looks like I didn't get anywhere else. A little knockoff. And just kind of get it in the area where I want it to be. And then take the brush on the side, because I was able to get some there as well. And just open up and kind of back and forth. I'm not going to open up all the way because the brush itself is kind of big, and lightly on the lid. So these Kjaer Weis, I think I did look up how to pronounce this correctly, and I thought, oh, okay, yeah, I'll remember that. No, I won't. I don't remember anything. And I forgot to look at it again before I sat down, but I believe it's Kjaer Weis. I feel that the idea of these shades are just everyday neutral eyes. And I feel like I've been doing, I don't know, am I crazy? I feel like I've done several kind of everyday things lately, but I am someone who doesn't really have a bunch of neutral palettes. And I'm going to go in with this kind of taupey, slightly grayish brown right here. Remarkably, I am able to do that without getting this brush in the other two color quadrants. And going to go back and forth. This is the Chikuhodo brush. And kind of massaging the eyeball a little bit and a little bit above. So I am hitting that socket, but because I'm so hooded, it's, you know, when my eyes open, you won't see that. Also, if you go light, this actually feels like an eyeball massage, and it's kind of good. I've used this a few times, and I find that these shadows are very nice. They swatch horribly, and I'll do swatches afterwards, but the swatches are like unremarkable in every way, but for some reason they look very, very pretty on the eye. They do not look powdery, but they're not creamy to the touch. I'm kind of reminded of the Visearts, but the Visearts are quite powdery, and these, I wouldn't say these are quite powdery. I'm going to go in with this Hakuhodo that has a slant, and I'm going in with the dark chocolate and see if I can do a little bit of lining with this. And I'm going to turn this on my side actually and just use it as a haze of color, because I just don't think I'm going to get a solid liner out of this. I'm going in with the pencil brush, and this is also a Chikuhodo, and this pinkish color. I mean, look how that picks up so beautifully. I'm going to do inner corner and part of the lid. This is not a shimmer color. I just want to put some lightness here, and I just love this color. When I first saw this palette, I thought, I wonder if this is similar to the Victoria Beckham signature, but it's not. Similar idea, but the colors are not similar. And I think you might find, maybe, that one works for you color-wise better than the other, or you might find, like me, they both work fine. It's just, you know, what are you in the mood for? And now I'm going to go with this light shade again, which is what I did for my initial Racine the Hood, and do a little under the eyes. I usually don't like to put things under my eyes because I think it can be very hard looking. It can make the eyes look smaller, and I have a lot of crepiness and puffiness and a deep trough. I have a lot going on, but I feel like with a brush like this, I don't have to worry so much. I'll be able to just get something soft. And I've never really had a brush I felt comfortable with under the eye. Now, because I feel like that dark color didn't do a whole lot, I'm going to go in with this brush and this dark color and see if I can get something else where you can really tell that it's on the eye. Just so you can see what's the pigmentation about. But I would say that these shadows are ideal for beginners, for people who don't have the control with things that are very pigmented, people who are heavy-handed. I just don't think you're going to make a lot of mistakes with this palette. But I guess the question is, does a neutral eye float your boat? And now I'm going to go back in with this other Chikuhodo and clean it up and just do a blend, a final nice blend. So there's no lines and everything just kind of meshes in together, you know, to a point. But I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you look in TV shows or movies and you take a look at what they're doing with the makeup of the actress, it's never color. 90% of the time it's kind of a taupey gray shade, or sometimes brown depending on their skin tone, but definitely taupe, because they are looking for true shadow just to give shape to the eyes, maybe bring out the color of the eyes a little bit, but that's what it's all about. And I feel like this palette does that. It's nothing special, but it's something I think is very pretty. I'm going to do my brows, I'm going to do some mascara, and I will come back and do some swatches. Alright you guys, I'm back. I did some mascara, I did my brows, I did some lips, and I added some more blush because I just felt like something was missing. So I did the NARS Torrid, which is a little bit orangey because I felt like my overall look was too pink. But before I went in with the Torrid, I went in with this shade of the Surratt blush, which is Cherbique. Lips, I lined with number 3 Victoria Beckham, and then Lisa Eldridge Velvet Blush, and then I blotted a little bit. So that's what's going on the face. Now I wanted to compare for you the Victoria Beckham, which as you can see is a lot more product. And they have the same idea of a darker brown and a more grayish brown, and then a fleshy tone, and then a neutral tone, but they are completely different. The dark tone is much darker. The tone up here that is more of a taupe has a greenness to it. Whoops. And this one does not have a greenness to it. The fleshy tone here has a peachiness to it. The one up here has pink to it. And this is more of a brown, while this is most definitely like a beige. I'm not going to swatch them side to side, but I am going to do my best swatching this. Pinky time. They just don't swatch all that great. Doesn't mean they don't perform. This is the taupey color, and there's no fallout at all. The chocolate color, and the light brown color. So swatch-wise, they're just so different than anything I've ever tried before, but when you look at the eyes, it definitely got there, and it definitely doesn't look powdery. There's absolutely no drop down at all. It's very subtle. If you don't like a subtle look, this is not going to float your boat. But if you do like a subtle look, if you look at it as, you know, it's a painting. So yes, why did I use 5 colors? Did I use 5 or 4, whatever? When it doesn't look like much, because I do see movement in this eye, and I do feel like it's flattering, but it's not dark, and it doesn't look like, once again, this is a big thing for me, it doesn't look like I tried too much. I feel like I just look put together and pretty without looking like, oh, she just spent 40 minutes putting on her makeup, when actually, you know, I kind of did. And that is it for me today. So this is a Kjaer Weis, and I think these are very lovely. It's about, I don't know, $35. It's not a good value. This is not inexpensive, but it's much more product. But I do think the colors are different enough for me personally to warrant having both. This one is cool, but it's not super cool. Like some of the other things that I have in this area run a little bit cooler. So this one is far more neutral, much like this. This is neutral too. They're just different. And then my new brushes, you guys. If you'd like to see me do more on my eyeshadow brushes, what I have, how I use them, if they have failed me or if they really work for me, let me know. I'll be happy to do that. It will be much longer because, you know, I'm a jabberwocky. I talk a whole lot, and I certainly have opinions about brushes. But I think these brushes are going to step up my game, and I think I used these exclusively when I did the Trio Chrome. I'm not 100% sure. Not that my other brushes are banished. I'm never going to use you again. There are certainly things that I love that, for instance, this Hakuhodo is bigger than this one and has more of that fuller and then candlestick, where this is quite straight. I love this for just a final blend. It's soft, so if you have sensitive skin, you're not going to feel like it's too stiff or too itchy. And gosh, I think it looks better already. There are plenty of brushes that I don't talk about, but are kind of hero brushes, and I would be happy to do that if you want to see it. But this is the Kjaer Weis, and this is what I have. These are my thoughts. I hope they might have been helpful to you when making your purchasing decisions, and I hope you come back again. Until we meet again, be safe, be smart, and I'm wishing you good health.